Hello, YouTube. Welcome to my channel, Marriage, Politics, and Sports. Today, we're going to be talking about student loan debt, and its impact on women and their future. Now, it impacts men, but in a different way. Because when we're talking about marriage, your profession, your job, and motherhood, I think women have a unique dilemma that they face in terms of paying back their student loan debt, especially two big ways. One, if they don't have a profession that it gives them snowball's chance in hell to actually pay back the loan. And two, once they start having kids, how do they stay up with payment of in inordinate amount of debt when they want to be stay-at-home moms? And a lot of women have that once they start having kids, they have that earning or yearning to stay at home with the kids for a significant period of time. So there's a unique dilemma. So I got Dave Ramsey on tap, and he's going to have some ideas. He has a person with him. And here's an example of a woman in $190,000 worth of debt. But before we get to that video, please like this video, share this with women who are getting ready to go to college or people who are already in college, and maybe it can stop them from getting another loan where they don't need it, or maybe change profession. Share this video. There's a cautionary tale in here. And and subscribe to the channel, because I'm gonna have more content like this coming. Hit that notification bell. But without further ado, let Dave Ramsey talk to you about this.
Seth is with us in Virginia. Hi, Seth. How are you?
Hi, gentlemen. Good afternoon.
Hey, what's up?
So, relatively new listener. So I had a question and wanted some advice if you could help me in regards to my wife's student loans. Her student loans are roughly about $190,000.
Good Lord.
And it's an income-based repayment plan.
Well, that's what you've got it on. What is she, a doctor or a lawyer?
She has her master's in social work.
For $200,000.
Yeah.
And what does she make a year?
Well, that's the thing. She's been a stay-at-home mom for the last 7 years with our kids, and she's slowly kind of getting back into work. And my plan has always been to, allow her to start working and basically take all the income that she would make from whatever job she has and to put that towards the loans.
Mm-hmm. What is your household income? What do you make?
I make about $175 a year.
Okay. No, I would not do that. I would just pay the loan. I just pay the loan off. You make $175,000 a year. Let's get this mess cleaned up. This is your wife, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health. Unto thee all my worldly goods I pledge, it says in the old wedding vows in the Book of Common Prayer. They don't say that anymore, but that was the old days. And so that's what you did. It's not her loan now. I know it's got her name on it, and technically it is her loan. But I'm saying relationally and everything else, you make $175,000 a year. This is hanging around your all's neck. And income-based repayment is just going to drag it out for 40 freaking years. Mm-hmm. Knock it in the head. Be done with it in about 2 years. $100,000 a year for 2 years to clean this mess up.
Yeah, goodness great. I mean, you know what, Dave? I get riled up when I hear that, because
but still, if she hadn't married him, she'd be screwed.
Oh yeah, she's working 2 jobs trying to make payments, and it's just, people have sold the bill of goods that you've got to go to some fancy school, you got to go to this high price university if you're going to make anything of yourselves. And again, people hear me. We did the largest study of millionaires that's ever been done. Talked to over 10,000 of them. Okay, over 10,000. And it was unbelievable, because 62% of them went to public state universities. These are people that are millionaires. 8% went to community college. So you do not have to go to $100,000 a year private school in order to be able to have and build wealth. Gosh.
Well, The good news is that, Seth, you guys are in a position to clean this up. And so our recommendation would be to clean it up very, very quickly. Now, then the sidebar is for everyone listening. If you're going to get a degree in something, before you spend money to get a degree, before you spend $1 to get a degree, find out what that field of study pays.
Yes.
And if you're going to be a $40,000 a year social worker, don't go $200,000 in debt to get that degree, because that's mathematically unpalatable. In other words, it get a little throw up in the back of your mouth.
Let me stop that right there, because he's going to go through some more stuff. But what I'll do is put the link to that entire 7-minute video in my description, so you can go there on your own and listen to it in its entirety. But here's a couple of things I want to say before we end this, because I don't want this to be too long. One, ladies, there's going to be a point where you're going to have to balance your profession job with the biological urge to be a mother and motherhood, and how you're going to be able to take care of your kids once once you have them. And a lot of women want to stay home with their kids until they're at a certain age where you can put them off in a regular school. That might be 3 or 4 years or 5 years. You know what I'm saying? Or 6 years, until they get to first grade. In order to do that, you got to look at your life in total, right? Whatever your education is, what your profession is, and what if you want to be a wife and a mother, you got to balance all that in your, I say, 22-year window, right? Your window from 18 to when you could graduate from college at 23, and then your biological years, that way you have a potential to be married and have a kid from 25 to 40, somewhere in there. And then if you want to have a profession, what kind of profession do you need to have in that period of time? And how much are you willing to pay for it if it's not something that's going to be lifelong? If you're going to spend a significant chunk of that raising your children, which is all legitimate stuff. So the kind of advice and advisors that you need have to be people who understand that, who don't look down on motherhood in terms of a job or a profession. You don't need none of these modern feminists to tell you that being a mother is some kind of punishment. Okay. So you need to juggle all of these things, and it's not easy to juggle that, but as long as you know it going in, that's a good thing. And here's another thing: the men that you want to marry, the men that you admire, the men that you might want to cleave to as your husband, a lot of these men are doing inventory of the women that they choose. And one of the things on their list is, how much debt is she in? If you come to a man who's on his grind, even if he loves you, he might not want to finance $190,000 worth of debt, when the only job you can possibly do is one that's making 40 grand. You might not want to make that a consideration, but you might want to, or you might think you might need to rethink that based on trying to get to a high value man. And it doesn't make him any less of a man if he has standards, just like it doesn't make you any less of a woman if you do as well. So these are things you need to consider in your life. And I'm telling you, as a man, there's a lot more men who are a lot more discerning these days, and they're not being so enamored with women that they're falling in love and asking you to marry them just because you give them good sex and you got good attributes physically. Men are looking for more than that. And if you don't believe me, you know what? You already believe me. You know that. Especially for the men you want. You could always find a Pookie and Ray Ray that's going to bust you down. So anyway, listen, I'm not going to make this long. You got a lot to consider. Men are not really going to college as much anymore because they're doing the numbers. They're getting into vocations like HVAC and electronics and things of that nature, where you just need a certificate from a county college, and they can make a living in good times and bad times. And those are the men you might want to look at as well. Anyway, our pain, marriage, politics, and sports, over and out.